Hello, guys. Welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to be joined with Ellis Steward. He's 2-0. He's 2-0. And in his first two fights, he's fought Robbie Chapman and Jordan Granham. Am I correct?
Yep, correct.
And you're a super middleweight?
I'm a middleweight. But
Oh,
my first fight I was at super middle. Because I had an opponent pull out. So Robbie Chapman done the thing he needed to do, and he stepped in. So I had to box super middle for the first fight, but middle for the second.
so you'll be sticking at middleweight.
Yeah. I'll stick at middleweight. The last fight I boxed at 74 kilos. So that's only two and a half kilos off the championship weight. So yeah, I'll box at middleweight definitely.
So you boxed Jordan Granham in
Yep,
a foot. So you've done two 4-rounders.
yep, correct.
What fights have you performed your best in so far, or would you say your best is still to come?
Of course, my best is still to come. But out of the first two, definitely my second fight I performed better in. Against Jordan Granham. I feel like the first fight, not making excuses, I had to go up in weight. That didn't help 2 days before. And it just wasn't ideal. And you know what? There was a lot of pressure. I had a lot of people there. I had 150 plus people there for my first fight.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was just a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? It was the first one, but the second one, I felt a lot more relaxed. I could get my shots off nicely. You know what I mean? My movement was a lot better. I feel like everything just fell into place a little bit. But my best is definitely still to come. Like, I've still got loads of improving to do, and every fight you'll see an improvement, I'm sure.
Yes, of course we will, mate. And I was wondering, why did you start boxing?
Okay. So my dad's a professional coach. He's obviously who trains us. So I've always been around boxing since I can remember. My dad's always trained boxers since I was a baby. So I remember going to the gym when I was probably, how old are you?
At 13.
13. So yeah, I was in the gym probably from when the age of like obviously 6, and then obviously when I got to 13, your sort of age, just when I started boxing properly. But I just did all sorts of sports as a kid. I was always into sports. Always wanted to do something to do with a sport when I was older. And yeah, I got to 13. I decided to go into boxing. I was playing rugby. I left rugby. Decided to go into boxing. Yeah, the rest is history really. But I've always been around the sport anyway, so it was pretty easy to fall into.
Did you have so did you win anything as an amateur?
You know what? I didn't. I didn't do massive amounts as an amateur. So I boxed Repton first couple fights when I was probably about 13, 14. And then I left and I went to uni. And I boxed for XR. I got to the British University Championships finals, but I lost on a split decision. I felt like I won it, so obviously that would have been a little title to have, which would have been nice, but we didn't get a decision. And then I left uni and I was a bit up and down what I wanted to do. I was with a club and I was getting a lot of away shows, weren't getting decisions I wanted. And yeah, like it was, I didn't really know myself what I wanted to do at the time. So obviously I carried on training with all the pros, still training them, weren't boxing amateur, and then it come to a time and I was training them, sparring them, and I thought, why didn't I just turn pro? You know what I mean? So really, I didn't have massive amateur experience, but at the
Don't
time,
you
in no rush
train?
as a pro.
Don't
Say that
you?
again, mate.
I said, don't you train with Linus Udofia?
That's it. Yeah. So I trained with Lion Shadofia, Brad Pauls, Sean Robinson, who boxed on the
I
show at the
saw you
weekend.
on you were on the TV, mate.
That's it. Yeah. In the corner with Sean.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I
Even
trained with all them lot.
even though Sean came up short, he did very well.
Yeah, listen. Sean's a very good fighter. And listen, take nothing away from Sam Gilly. He boxed really well. personally, like I don't believe Sean boxed to the best of his ability that night, and I think he'd say the same if you interviewed him or you spoke to him. I think he'd say the same that he's got a lot more to come. But listen, it's a learning curve, and he'll be back definitely.
I'm sure he will, mate. He was a bit inactive, wasn't he? So fair play for him to go in like. He had one 4-rounder last year, and then he's just hopped into a big opportunity. But I'm sure he'll be back on these, fighting for like an English title very soon.
100%. As I say, like Sam Gilly's not an easy English title fight. You know what I mean? I'm sure Sean done well against him. Won a couple rounds, I believe, at the start, couple at the end. So he done well. Just the middle rounds, maybe he didn't do the best. But
So when you're not training, are you in the corner of your friends?
Yeah. So obviously my dad does the corner, and when I was obviously, I must have been 18. He said to me, "You always come to the shows and come and watch. Why don't you come and do the corner with me?" So it started off like that, and I do always do the corners with all the boys that I train with.
I mean,
which
that
is good
fight,
as well.
Linus v Bentley, was a great fight.
Yeah, brilliant fight, wasn't it? Brilliant fight.
Personally, I thought Linus nicked it.
Yeah, you know what? We all agreed. Yeah, we thought he nicked it by around 2 rounds, but listen, it was a great fight either way. And look what Bentley's gone to do. You know what I mean? He's gone on and pushed for world titles. You know what I mean? He's done well against Janet Beck the other day.
I'm sure that Linus should be really next in line for the British to fight. I don't know, like Tyler Denny or someone.
Definitely. I mean, I believe Brad, obviously who we train with, Brad Pauls. He's fighting Tyler Denny for the English again in when is that? In probably early next year, and the winner of that is the mandatory for the British anyway.
Well, we don't want Brad to fight Linus, do we?
Exactly. No, that won't happen anyway. But I reckon. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if Denny pushes on to British level now anyway, because he's defended the English twice, and so if he wants to push on to British, I wouldn't blame him. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe Udofia could go for English and then Brad for British, or the other way round, because it depends.
I think where Linus has had English before, obviously I don't think he wants to take that little backward step. But listen, Linus has proven himself at British level, and he can push on, and he'll fight anyone. Linus, as long as he's got an 8-week camp, strong 8-week camp, he'll fight anyone.
Yeah, he's a great fighter.
Definitely.
And I'm sure if you keep training hard, you'll be knocking on the door for like a southern area next year.
Definitely. I'd say no rush for me. I'd say, obviously, I'm 2-0 now. I'd like to get 4 or 5 fights next year, and then maybe a couple more the start of 2020. What would that be? 2024, and then obviously from summer that year, I'd like to push on for titles. But as I say, I'm in no rush at all. I'm still young, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna.
So is your next fight gonna be another 4-rounder, or are you gonna go for a 6-rounder?
I believe I've got one more 4-rounder, and then after that, I believe it would be a 6. From what I've been told, I'm sure there'll be one more 4-rounder. Which, listen, either way, it's all experience, isn't it?
Yes, and you are signed with Goodwin, aren't you?
That's correct. Yeah.
He does great shows, doesn't he? Always a cool.
He gets all his fighters out very regular, which is good. And yeah, it's perfect for anyone starting out, especially on the small hall shows. He's one of the best, definitely.
Yeah. Why? Wait, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
I was wondering why people should come and buy tickets off you. What makes you different?
Okay. You know what? With me, I say I can box, I can fight, I can fight in close, I can fight out long, and I wouldn't say I've got one style really. I feel like I can keep everything long on a jab if I need to, and be boring. But if I need to have a tear up, which obviously, listen, it's all about hitting and not getting hit. But if I need to have a tear up and have a fight, I'm more than willing to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think makes me exciting. I can be very exciting, but in myself, I have to pull myself away from that and just box. You know what I mean? Because I can do it without having a hard time.
Yeah. So, would you say that there could be a few knockouts coming in the new year?
100%. Next year, Williams. I feel like the first two fights I've boxed two tough journeymen. Robbie
Yeah.
Chapman. He doesn't go over against anyone. I think he's been stopped twice.
By
Both in the
Brad.
eighth round by Brad, and there was one other which I believe was in the eighth round. So, yeah, he doesn't get stopped. Same as Jordan Granham. He doesn't really get stopped either. He's had 100+ fights, hasn't been stopped.
He's
really.
only been stopped twice.
I think that's it. Yeah. So I went out there and I've gained a lot of experience. And I believe that as the fights go on now, and I get a few more fights next year, the knockouts will definitely come because I'll get my range, get my distance, and I'll be able to land some a lot better shots than I have done in the first two fights.
Yeah. So the best is to come, mate.
100%, million% it is. Million%.
So do you spar Linus, Brad, and Sean?
Yeah, I spar them week in, week out. Obviously, when we're in camp, we spar with each other every week. You know, it's really good because we're all middleweights, and obviously Sean's a super welterweight, but because we're all around the same weight, we all give each other good sparring, and we got all different styles, so we all gel well together. I've sort of got a box sort of fighting style. Brad's very strong, come forward. Linus is very slick off the jab. Sean's very in and out. Got a good jab on him. So we get a mixture of everything, which is good. So we're not stuck with one style.
So when you're in there, do you learn different things on how you can improve? Because they're all different kind of fight styles.
Of course, yeah, no, of course we do. I also find that, listen, they're in a better position than me. They're a lot better than me at boxing. But at the moment, so the better person you spar, the better you're going to become. So it's only going to improve me as a boxer.
And who's your trainer? Like, who's the trainer?
My trainer's Terry, who's my dad, Ellis Steward. So he trains. Obviously, he's trained Linus and Brad for 7 years now, and obviously he's always trained me. But yeah, my dad, which is obviously a good thing. We have good relationships, so it works out well for us.
So did your dad train you when you were an amateur?
Yeah, he did. So he'd obviously I'd go down my amateur club. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday as an example, and then Tuesday and Thursday night I'll be in the gym training my dad. If I've ever got any days off work, I'll train my dad. So I'll always be training with him. Even when I was an amateur, I'd do bits on the side with him, and I always felt like as an amateur I had a pro style because obviously I trained with the pros, I sparred with them often as well. It gave me that pro style, so amateurs at times didn't work out for me, but listen, in the pro game I can now prove that I'm more than good enough, more than capable of doing it.
Yes, mate. Oh, do you want to shout out like anyone so far who's helped you in your career in general? Any like your dad, sponsors, just manager?
You know what? I can't give enough credit to my dad. Like without my dad, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So massive shout out to him. Massive shout out to Goodwin Boxing as well, because without them, who knows where I'll be. I've seen them work a lot with obviously Linus and Brad, and they're the best management team around. They look after their fighters, and you don't find that a lot in boxing. Everyone, you find that in boxing, a lot of people can be selfish and only think about themselves. But with Goodwin, you don't get that. He looks out for you. Massive shout out to all my sponsors. So you've got Vendy Capital, Megatan Lounge, Wow Hydrate, Grove Gallery, and one more. Oh, and Greg Lawrence Meat Company, up Smithfield. Massive shout out to all them because
so you've got quite a few people helping you, mate.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a lot of people backing me, which is at this stage of my career. A lot of people don't get this, so I can't appreciate these lot enough. And they just allow me to do what I love and give it my best shot. You know what I mean? I just got to try and make them all proud now.
And before I let you go, my final question for you is, do
Mhm.
you have any advice for someone who wants to be a boxer?
Yeah. Listen, obviously, if you're an amateur coming up and you're going through ranks, experience is key. Don't worry if you a loss as an amateur doesn't mean anything. All you gain from is experience. I know a lot of boxers that have lost loads as amateurs and they've done really well as pros. It honestly doesn't mean anything. Just what I'd say to any young boxer coming up is just stick with it, trust your coaches, and it will all fall into place eventually. And any pros that are coming through, that are just starting out, just expect to. I know if you're on small hall shows, just expect that there's going to be times where you don't earn much money, and you have to put a bit of money in yourself, and it's not an easy sport. Unfortunately, it's hard at times, but trust me, the good times will come as long as you stick through the tough. Just stick with it and train hard, and never cut any corners. That's the main thing. Never cut any corners.
Yes. And thank you for your time, mate.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me on.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Bye.